At Wellston's infirmary, Keen is throwing a weird glance at the doc, making him uncomfortable. The doc finally snaps and Keen mocks him, saying that he looks gloomier than usual. Keen asks him how bad his date went and if he got dumped by Leela. The doc mentions that there was no date since she canceled on him. He continues, saying that her employer sent her away for 2 weeks. Keen comments that it was short notice for a trip that long, and the doc agrees, hoping that everything works out for her. In a different aisle of the school, we find Elaine, who upon noticing Arlo approaching, nervously avoids her gaze. However, she gets called by Arlo, who asks why she's ignoring him. Elaine excuses herself, saying that she didn't notice him. Arlo doesn't buy it, he's sure they made eye contact. Elaine dismisses his comment and gets ready to leave, but Arlo grabs her and orders her to wait. He asks her if she was able to keep the secret of him being beaten up. Elaine confirms that she didn't say anything, but this only increases Arlo's curiosity about her strange behavior. Arlo glances at her with authority, and this makes her remember the gaze John launched at her. She gives up and decides to talk, just to confirm that John was the person who defeated Arlo and his 2 classmates in the Wellston turf war area. Arlo asks her how she knows, and Elaine says that Serafina called her to heal John while she was staying at his home, while explaining that a mysterious, invisible guy spies on them, who looks kind of familiar. Elaine starts trembling upon remembering the way John looked at her. Understandable, she felt like her life was at risk. She doesn't grasp exactly what it is, but she feels like there's something terrifying about John, to the point that even if Arlo is part of that, she doesn't want to get involved in anything related to John. And since she knows his secret, she feels like John could appear and go after her at any moment. Arlo tries to calm her down by patting her shoulder. He reaffirms that everything will be fine, as long as she keeps the secret and pretends she hasn't seen anything. Unintentionally, Elaine asks Arlo if he's already doing that because he's afraid of John. Arlo receives a direct hit on his pride and can't shake off the idea that he's actually scared. Suddenly, the invisible man makes a soft sound with his shoes, and Arlo perceives it. His suspicions that someone is following him around increase. Back at John's house, Sarah is finishing packing all her things. She's done much faster than expected, and for that, she decides to take a little walk to kill some time. She's in the middle of the street enjoying a drink, when suddenly a blonde girl detects her presence. She starts following Sarah, who remains unaware that she's being targeted. The blonde woman calls her, using the excuse that she left her phone at home and would be grateful if Sarah could tell her the time. During the interaction, someone else is spying on them, revealing that Sarah is Target 93, a code mentioned previously in the story. While the woman is talking, Sarah feels a strange sensation that travels all over her body and makes her drop her phone. The woman apologizes for making her drop it, but Sarah tells her not to worry. After giving her the time, the woman nervously thanks her and walks away quickly while her body was trembling. After a while, Sarah keeps walking, but she's been shaking ever since she felt that unsettling sensation. Suddenly, a loud noise catches her attention and she turns, revealing that a van is speeding directly toward her. She uses her ability to freeze time and moves out of the way. She notices that her body is trembling even more and starts worrying because she barely managed to avoid the impact. A man gets out of the van and immediately rushes toward her, asking if she's all right. Another man and a woman also get off the vehicle and start apologizing, insisting on whether she's truly okay. Stoically, Sarah tells them that she's fine, but warns them to drive more carefully. The woman doesn't believe she's truly all right and offers to take Sarah to the hospital. Forcefully, she grabs Sarah's hand and pulls her toward the van. Sarah starts feeling uneasy and doesn't notice a portal opening behind her. A man begins emerging from the portal just as Sarah manages to break free from the woman's grip. Sarah thanks them for the offer and repeats that she's fine, still unaware of the individual standing behind her. Out of nowhere, the man grabs her from behind and injects a blue chemical into her neck. Sarah is completely stunned, still trying to understand the situation she's been dragged into. She activates her ability and with a swift move manages to knock down all 4 attackers at once. She tries to use her rewind ability but realizes she's unable to activate it. Sarah notices that one of the 4 people is still conscious and demands he explain what they did to her and why she's being targeted. Despite being defeated, the man refuses to answer and advises her to come with them without resisting, or they'll be forced to harm her. Sarah gets ready to use her ability again to make him talk, but suddenly she feels a sharp pain in her back. The woman who was supposedly knocked out managed to stand again and just stabbed Sarah with a knife. Sarah is paralyzed by fear and begins running out of options. Sarah snaps back and manages to throw an elbow, pushing the woman away from her. The woman slams into a wall and is finally knocked out. However, this gives the other 2 men enough time to stand up again, knives in hand. Sarah grabs the knife and pulls it out of her body. She starts noticing the effects of the chemical. Her ability is weakening to the point that she can't even rewind her wounds, Thankfully, at least she seems able to freeze the area where she was stabbed. She gets into a fighting stance and uses her ability once more, swiftly cutting down her two opponents, who had no time to react. They collapse, completely defeated, but when Sarah scans the area, she spots the fourth man escaping through one of his portals. She's about to chase him, but the pain from her wound suddenly returns. She's so weak that her freeze ability is wearing off from the injury. Her mind starts to blur, and she realizes the injection caused more than just physical harm. Desperately, she starts wondering how those people managed to obtain such a chemical and what they want from her to the point of targeting her. Her vision starts to fade, but she refuses to give up and stands, knowing she must return to John's house at all costs. She walks down the street, limping while everyone stares at her. People begin noticing the bloodstain from the wound, but the only thing on Sarah's mind is returning and calling Elaine to get healed. Suddenly, someone grabs her shoulder, alerting her. The random man tells her that she looks like she's in trouble and offers to help, but Sarah manages to break free from his grip and threatens him with the knife. Sarah demands he back off, while the people around her start freaking out at the sight of her with a weapon. She begins to lose consciousness again and decides to flee the scene, knowing her body won't hold up much longer. Meanwhile, John is returning from school, relieved that it's finally Friday. His main plan for the day is to help Sarah move all her things back to the Wellston dorms. He approaches the entrance of his house, but something catches his attention. John notices bloodstains all over the door handle. Upon opening the door, the sight paralyzes him. He finds Sarah unconscious on the floor, her body covered in blood from the wound. John rushes to her, desperately trying to wake her up. He then notices her bleeding, and his mind can't process how this could have happened. John grabs Sarah's phone and immediately calls Elaine, who is resting in her room. She picks up the phone, thinking that Sarah is calling her, and asks if she's all packed up. However, she hears John's voice on the other end of the call and freezes in fear. John tells her that she must come over as quickly as possible to heal Sarah, but before he can finish explaining, Elaine hangs up on him. He starts calling her repeatedly, but Elaine refuses to answer, begging to be left alone in peace. John is boiling with fury, to the point of wanting to settle things violently if they ever cross paths again. Upon checking Sarah's contacts, John realizes that his only option is to call Arlo. At the dorms, Arlo picks up his phone, expecting an answer from Sarah, but he's surprised to hear John telling him to come to his house with Elaine immediately. Arlo tries to ask what's going on, but John cuts him off, yelling at him to hurry. A short while later, Arlo and Elaine arrive at John's house. Arlo is shocked when he sees Sarah in that condition, unable to comprehend how this is even possible. Elaine rushes to her, asking how she ended up like this, but receives no answer. Elaine is perplexed, knowing that Sarah is undefeatable and doesn't know anyone capable of doing something like this. She immediately turns to John, asking what he did to Sarah and how he dared to do something like that. She keeps rambling, and slowly John begins to get annoyed by her accusations. He finally snaps and demands that she shut up as he slaps her. Elaine is shocked, not believing that John actually hit her. John yells, demanding that she heal Sarah right away instead of talking nonsense. Slowly, Elaine uses her ability, and Sarah's wounds begin to heal. Arlo watches the scene, trying to figure out how Sarah got hurt. Maybe she encountered someone who overpowered her. But he immediately rejects the idea. Maybe someone jumped her. But that's also ridiculous since she's too fast. The only explanation Arlo can think of is that Sarah didn't use her ability when she was attacked. Elaine finally finishes and nervously explains that Sarah's wounds are healed and she should be fine. However, John menacingly asks her why Sarah isn't waking up yet. Shaking, Elaine says that she's not sure why, that she's healthy, but something must be wrong. John stands, yelling sarcastically that any idiot could say that, and he wants to know exactly what's wrong. Elaine is completely terrified, swearing that she truly doesn't know. John gets ready to slap her again, calling her a failure of a healer. Elaine shrugs and braces for the hit, but before it can land, Arlo grabs John's arm and demands that he stop. With anger in his eyes, Arlo tells him to figure out the reason himself if he's so eager to know. Without flinching, John stares at him and demands that he remove his hand from him. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.